The Eurovision 2025 semi-final allocation draw has come to an end, and we now know who is singing when. Lucy, should we talk about it?
Let's
Let's
do
do
this.
this. Digitally and via Zoom, apologies for any delay. First off, semi-final one, competing in the first half, we have Sweden, Ukraine, Slovenia, Iceland, Estonia, Poland, and Portugal.
And in the second half, we have the Netherlands, Azerbaijan, Albania, San Marino, Belgium, Cyprus, Croatia, and Norway.
So, we will kick off this discussion. A lot of people on social media, on our website, on our Instagram comments, they're saying this is the tougher of the two semifinals. And I think what they might be referring to is the fact that Sweden and Ukraine are both competing in the first half of this semifinal. Ukraine, of course, has always qualified for the grand final every single time it has competed, and Sweden has only missed out once with our girl Anna Bergendahl. However, Lucy, beyond this, I don't actually think this semifinal is as tough as people are saying. It seems quite wide open. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think people also see countries like Azerbaijan and Iceland and go into this automatic thought that they're a really strong country. Last year, not so much, honey. They both were I think they were the bottom two in their semi final. You know, we also look at Croatia in there. Yes, they came second last year. Are they going to do one better this year? Can they keep that up? We look at Norway, who can be very flip floppy, up and down. Belgium can be really ropey, although they've got a very good national final. Who knows? With this semi-final, I feel like anything could happen. San Marino could win it. Who knows? Unlikely, but it's looking. I don't think this is the strongest semi. Just looking at it, like you say, Sweden, Ukraine. End of the day, if someone's watching a YouTube video and Wee blogs, they know enough to know that Sweden, Ukraine's pretty much a lock-in, right? It'd be very surprising if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it's like they're blinded by that because sorry, I need to get some
yeah,
light back on in this office. Because if we go through the list, and I'm just putting this year's entries in their national finals to the side, the following countries all are either in or out. It's never certain. Slovenia, Iceland, Estonia, Poland, Portugal, um, Netherlands has
they
had
can be a bit.
yeah, you just don't
Yeah,
know. Azerbaijan, Albania, San Marino, Belgium, Cyprus, Croatia, and this year, given the national final is not so strong, Norway. So,
yeah,
to cut a long story short, I think we've got two locks in Sweden and Ukraine. Even though a lot of
yeah.
people aren't even liking Ukraine's national final, they always deliver with staging. They always deliver
Yes,
with staging.
always. Well, the thing is, though, I do have a third lock, but it might be very early to say this. But Albania have got one of the best songs they've sent in a really long time. Like, I'm not entirely sure how you say it. Is it Zyum? That is a phenomenal entry. And when Albania sends something that's got a bit of flavour, kind of regional flavour to it, they tend to always qualify. That was Base's problem in Malmö, is it wasn't particularly Albanian. Whereas Zyum is fantastic. It's so modern with those traditional elements. To me, that's a lock. And again, a bit early to say, we've only got a few songs, but yeah, I would count them in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't want to be super negative, but San Marino, it's really not a powerhouse of Eurovision. Um, yeah, and I'm just seeing San Marino next to Albania. I realize this is not the running order; it's just the
No.
placement. But I would say Albania is in as well. I
Mm.
think the Netherlands. I have a very positive feeling about Claude. Before I knew that Claude was the singer, I had heard that song da 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 in
Yeah.
restaurants here in London. I feel like he already gets airplay in lots of places at clubs, even if people don't know who he
Yes.
is. And the Netherlands want revenge. Let's be real. After what
Oh
happened to them
yeah.
with Joost Klein, they're coming for blood. And I think they would have
Yeah.
made a very calculated decision to send a singer, not just who could do well, but who could win it all, honey.
Yeah, I agree. Like they are going to be coming for blood. It's interesting that it is something wildly different to Joost Klein. Like the style, like the I don't want to say the class because I don't mean to say Joost Klein's song didn't have class. That's not what I mean. But I mean like the seriousness of the song.
Yeah.
Let's say. I feel like Claude's song is going to be really classy, really smooth. It's going to be really good. His genre isn't typically my cup of tea, but even when I'm looking at his past songs, it's really high quality. And that's when you can get televote points because even if it's not something somebody would typically go for, if you're still going to make people like you, then hello. So yeah, I think the Netherlands are going to do something very good. They just need to do something stand out because sometimes these kind of more smooth, classy songs can maybe be a bit dull. It needs to be careful of that. But other than that,
Yeah,
I mean, you're singing the hook there of one of his other songs. You've got it in your head.
absolutely. And let's point out that Belgium is also in this semifinal. The Netherlands song will include a bit of French, so that could resonate with some French
Oh,
speaking voters in
oh,
Belgium. Also, I would say that Sweden tends to like these super pop-tastic songs, and we know that Claude can give us that radio hit. So yeah, that also seems very relevant.
yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, Belgium is one of the national finals that a lot of people are talking about positively. I haven't heard all the songs yet, but I know people are going nuts for Red Sebastian. I believe our dear friend Freddie Tennyson described it as Tomorrowlandy. Was it Freddie? Somebody on
Yeah,
Reading said it was Tomorrowlandy, which I get that vibe. I know my Belgian friend Danny is very excited about another one of them. I know the quality is there in the national finals. So Belgium could be a real threat.
yeah, I do worry that the bookies kind of overhyped Belgium and that they wanted to make some money. And so they said, okay, there's some decent songs we've heard of there. We're going to push it so people throw money at it. Because I listened to the Red Sebastian song and I think it has potential. But based on the preview clip, which was, of course, a very small studio, I wasn't overwhelmed. I
No.
honestly, I wasn't getting all the hype, but perhaps that will come to life in a bigger setting. But at the moment, I don't even think Belgium's a guarantee to make the final based on what we've heard.
No.
I think there needs to be elevation in these performances.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Belgium, you never know. Look, Senec 2018, we all
Yeah.
thought that was a dead cert. It was not. Belgium can have really good songs and not do what we expect from them. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. But I mean, they're not the only country like that. Iceland, they can go
Yeah.
really left field. Estonia as well can surprise. I know me and you both really loved Vispenus and Pulup. They
Yeah.
did. They actually got to final. A lot of people said they wouldn't. You know, you've got Tommy Cash in Estonia. That's one we can't not talk about.
Yeah,
He's
let's
one of the
actually
big stars
pause
out
there.
there.
The quirkiness of Estonia often cuts through, a lot of the hate or doubt. And who knows what will happen in Estonia because we've not seen any of them live. But
No.
pure per your point though, Tommy Cash does have a song that is very different. So if that was the one people went for, maybe that would stand out.
Yeah, and I mean he's doing promo with Joost Klein this week on TikTok, so you know
That'll
that
help him in the
that won't hurt
Netherlands.
his case. So, but other people in Estonia, you've got Minimal Winterback. People really love
Yeah.
them.
Lots
Like
of
on the other end of
positivity.
the scale, there's some really great interest in Estonia. Poland, they've got a national final again this year where maybe it didn't quite go to plan last year. Justina is in it again this year, the national final. So maybe she'll get picked. And I haven't listened to Portugal yet, but judging by what you guys were saying about the other day, I've heard there's some really good ones in Festival de Cansal. So it's very wide open this semi.
I want to talk about the big six countries, sorry, the big five and host countries where they vote. In the first semifinal, we also have Switzerland, Italy, and Spain voting. My first
Yes.
thought is that, again, with Claude, some French language lyrics that might speak to some Swiss voters. And we know
Yes.
they love them some pop music. Luca, honey, honey. And my second point would be Albania always loves to have Italy voting in their
It's
semi. There are
good.
huge connections between Albania and Italy. So yeah, per your earlier point, I think Albania is almost a lock at this point to go
Yes,
through.
I do. I really do. And you've also got Spain and Portugal there. Spain can vote for Portugal. So
Absolutely. Now I'm
yeah.
just gonna quickly pull up comments on Weeby Blogs to see what people are saying. Jake says, you better have a killer song to get out of semifinal one. About half of these slots already seem to be taken.
No, hard to disagree.
Dennis says, oh, just a first glance, the first semifinal looks like the stronger, more competitive one. Much harder to qualify from here.
Yeah. No, I mean, like we said, me and you were discussing, we've got three locks. That's it. So
And this one's a bit more fleshed out. Leo M says, first semi is looking stronger and has the usual powerhouses like Sweden and Ukraine, with Belgium, Estonia, and Cyprus looking like they could be strong this year. So Cyprus, let's bring up Cyprus actually.
Yeah.
So Cyprus again, sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong. And I think this year they're teasing something very strong. The vibes I'm getting out of Cyprus is that they're taking it very seriously this year. Um, yeah, I hope that Teo Evan has allowed them to create a song from outside of his normal oeuvre. I think his back catalog, it's in its infancy, it's growing, but it's not the strongest. So I do hope he deferred to the Cypriot team because they do know how to create a hit. I'm still humming El Diablo. I'm still humming Tomta's, Love on Replay. I'm still humming Fuego. So I'm just hoping and I trust that Cyprus has pushed him in the right direction.
Yeah, I do want something a bit more original though. And this
Okay.
isn't me, it's me being a little bit shady, let's be real. I went to say I'm not being shady, I am. But this last year, sorry, whilst Celia Capsis is one of the most talented singers we've had
Very
kind of in
talented.
last year, incredible. The song wasn't as good as she is, I would argue. And then the year before it, Andrew Lambrou,
Top
forgot his
10,
name for a
top
second there.
10.
Top 10, but if they keep doing this, it is just I do want something a bit more different. That's not great because the way I've worded that, but you know what? I want something a bit more exciting.
It is
I
interesting
want something a
how
bit more.
Andrew Lambrou, that song, I did find it very generic, and then he came top 10. So it's
I'm
sort
sure.
of it was interesting. Cyprus knows how to pitch its songs. Like I really do trust their taste level. I think with
Mm,
Sandro that year, that perhaps was the one time I was really like, I don't quite get what's going on.
mm,
But typically every other year I've seen what they've been trying to do and it's made sense.
mm,
Because like with Cilia, it's tough. Someone that age, you have to balance like cutesy and age appropriate with also appealing to an adult audience. So I think they had a particular challenge, and in the end, she could dance and she tore it up and she
Oh
could
yeah,
sing. Yeah.
yeah. She smashed it. She did a really great job with what she had. She did so well for them.
Final point before we move on with Norway's national final. I'm a little worried for them this year. I think that
Yeah.
all of the entries, some of them are fine, but they're really going to need staging or some secret sauce that we've not yet seen because as radio cuts, they're just not giving as hard as they've given in the past.
Mm. I mean, with Norway again, that's another one we tend to think is infallible. Yet Gorta came last year, and I mean that was a huge fan favorite, and that came last. Like they're not invincible, so we can't expect them to be invincible. We can't just see Norway there and say they'll definitely make it because they're only a few points off of Ico being in that final instead. So yeah, no.
Final comment again, this is on the Wee Blog's website. Musica says, weird how these odds work. Now suddenly Belgium are apparently a favorite, even though nobody really understands why. And I think that's very telling. I think sometimes you cannot buy the hype of the bookies.
No.
Um, but Lucy, we move on to semi-final two. Competing in the first half, we have Austria, Lithuania, Armenia, Montenegro, Greece, Ireland, Australia, and Latvia.
And in the second half, we have Czechia, Israel, Malta, Finland, Denmark, Luxembourg, Georgia, and Serbia.
Now, to me, this seems very wide open. I think every single country in here has had periods of difficulty at the Eurovision Song Contest. And I include Australia, which
Oh
scraped
yeah.
through with Jessica Malboy, which failed to qualify with Montaigne, which with
And
Isaiah.
electric fields.
Oh, and Electric Fields. God, that wound is raw and very
Yeah,
recent.
yeah.
This, I think, is a great opportunity for every single country in here to go through to the final. Um, yeah, that's my first thought is that it's wide open. We have the songs in Greece out. They have a few that I think could really contend. I think Greece will go through based on the top 3 or 4 songs in that selection. Clavdia, for instance, is
Yes.
going to stand out regardless of where she goes if she wins. And even Vale, Evangelina, could get out of this semifinal. So could Play It from Zanovazan. I'm feeling good about this. What about you?
Yeah, Greece, I really think they're a lock in. I think that their national final, sorry, is another one that like loads of people talking about it. It's so impressive. And I mean, a lot of those songs have again that regional flavour in them that people really like to hear at Eurovision because end of the day, Keith in Sheffield in the UK doesn't watch Eurovision to watch the same song over and over again. People tune into Eurovision because they'll listen to music they don't hear elsewhere. So to have that in it, to have Greece sending something that is authentically Greek but really high quality, I think they're in. I think that Finland are probably a lock because UNK is insane. Please, Erica Vickman, please. I really want to see Ikoma at Eurovision. But, you know, looking at the other options, Goldilocks, What Are We Made Of is a really good song too. And yeah, there's that whole selection. And they're doing really well in the charts in Finland as well. Like the songs from UNK. They're really good songs. I really think they're a lock.
I also love that Erica Vickman is in the second half, or rather, Finland is in the second half. If Erica wins, they're going to need to put her last to clear the flood of honey off of the stage.
One to talk about that is obviously a lot, probably Israel. They're probably definitely going to be in the final as well, especially if we look at last year. But, you know...
Yeah, and just to elaborate on that, based on the televote, they had such a huge score in the televote in the grand final. I don't remember the semi, but yeah, surely that will carry over. My sister pointed out that a lot of Israelis she knows abroad have started watching Eurovision because of last year's contest, and so surely that will also carry over. I think that in a televote only situation, that's clear. In the final, of course, that'll be a different story. We saw the juries last year not giving as much love for what were good vocals. So it's a complicated picture, and people can parse out what that means and what's going on. I personally think that if Israel sends a pop song, like a banger, it might be less controversial than a ballad, because I think people, when they hear ballads, tend to read deep meaning into it or put spin on it, whereas with a pop banger, I don't know, across all of Europe, when you hear a pop banger, you don't think about it being deep, do you? You just think of pop bangers.
I mean, if you look at the lyrics of Unicorn, I think kind of, without going too much into it, kind of after that, you know, people can read into that as well. But I think at the time they didn't. So I think kind of, yeah, as we kind of move on through it, I think they're guaranteed in the final because they won semi-final too last year and came second with the televote.
Oh, did they win? Who came second?
In semi-final 2, Netherlands. It was Joost
Fine.
Wow.
Very interesting.
So he probably would have done very well too. But yeah, Israel did win that semi. So they're pretty much in.
In any case, we're going to move on and talk about Montenegro, because we have the song and singer already. That song definitely needs a revamp. Let's keep it real.
Yes.
And I think it will get that revamp. The fact that she's worked with Darko Dimitrov, he's huge throughout the Balkans. Serbia is in the semi-final. That could only help Montenegro. I mean, hello, it was Serbia and Montenegro, okay? So, yeah, that's good for Nina, but she's really going to need a revamp, I think, to get out of the semi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a bit difficult for her. I'm just thinking now, I think just... people like a Balkan ballad at Eurovision. I think this one, even when I do enjoy Balkan ballads, you know, I think about the ones that Montenegro qualified with, Adio and Moj Svijet back in 2014. They are both really quite magical sounding. They're really beautiful Balkan ballads. I don't think this one is as captivating, and that's what makes me worry. But we do lack Balkan ballads in Eurovision these days. We don't get many. I don't know if we're going to count Ramondarov's one from last year from Serbia. I wouldn't say it's massively Balkan. So, you know, people do, there is a market for that, with want of a better way of saying it. Like, people do want that. So who knows? But you have got Ireland in there, and if Ireland pick, obviously it's not next to them in the running order necessarily, but if Ireland pick Bobby Arlo, that would be it wouldn't surprise me if they put those together in a running order because they're drastically different. You have Austria, who know how to bring a banger when they want to. You have Kalin last year. Lithuania's national final has been going up in quality a lot since COVID, past then. There's a lot of quality. Armenia can do incredible things on their day. I mean, they came 8th last year with one of the most fun songs of the year.
And can I point out, Armenia managed to qualify from second position with Brunette, so you can never rule Armenia out.
Never. And I mean, Armenia is one that often, my sister really does not like Eurovision. It's a whole thing. She's like, ugh, about it. So, but yeah, every year she watches it and texts me during it. Like, I really like Armenia. Every year she loves Armenia. So I think they're kind of a very consistent country for people who aren't a massive Eurovision fan as well. So I think Armenia, I'm really looking forward to what they bring. Let's see what they do. And I mean, Latvia, can we discuss Latvia?
This is the thing I was about to bring up. This is a great year for them. This is a huge opportunity because they've got great songs, but they've also got this wide open semifinal. And they've got Lithuania voting, so that will only help. I think Latvia could definitely go through. Like, for instance, Ligo. That's one of the ones I really love. City Zeni, even, I think, would really stand out with their song. So they have options, and this is their moment.
Yeah, that Supernova is genuinely, and I'm not even being ironic, genuinely my favorite national final of the year. I think it is so good. There's another song in it. I've completely forgot the name. It's like Big Something, but it's like this really nice, chill song. It's my favorite national final song of the year. And you know, you also have Talmatatus, I think they're called, something like that, and it's this big, almost Czechia 2023 sounding song. There's Receive it, like that song. Oh my god, My Sister's Crown. Sorry, it kind of reminds me of that. You've got so much quality in that national final. I am desperate to see Latvia in the final again. I really want Latvia to make out of this semi-final. Justice after Southern Lights not making it. I want several years of Latvia qualification, please. Like.
I've just realized we have not discussed Luxembourg, who have both a
Mm,
singer and a song. That might suggest that we're not
mm,
feeling super positive. I've got to be honest, that song for me, I think it does what it does okay, but it's a little too juvenile for my taste. I do like the fact it brings joy and playfulness, but I don't think that the dance moves work. I think it feels like it lacks energy. I wanted to give her a Red Bull and like perk her up. But we know Luxembourg, I had the same concerns about Tally last year, to be honest, and they threw a lot of money at it, perhaps too much because there was a lot going on. But I do think they will do everything they can to see this qualify, eighth, ninth, or 10th. Like they'll throw a coin at it.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, look, I agree with you. I think that song needs something. It's not my cup of tea. If I'm talking about my own personal opinion, I'm like, that's not going to qualify. I think it's a
Yeah.
bit um, Eurovision 10 years ago in a bad way, or 15 years ago, even. I think it's a little bit kind of had its time. However, and actually, maybe I'm kind of proving my point here. The song it reminds me of is Zoe Luandisi,
Yeah.
Austria 2016. People ate that up, even though I was there like, what? Why? Like that fantastical, kind of whimsical sweetness, saccharine. Yeah, people loved that. And I feel this has got that same vibe. And a lot of people really like this, albeit when I say a lot of people, I do mean OG UK. And like that group is infamous at the best of times. So maybe if I take my own personal opinion out of it, maybe the slightly older Eurovision fans, because there is a huge community of slightly older Eurovision fans really eating this up. Are they all going to come vote for Luxembourg? Realistically, I don't know. My gut is telling me it's going to make it, but in like ninth or 10th. But we haven't heard the other songs in this semi. But just something, my head is telling me that's my prediction.
Yeah, they're very lucky to be in the semifinal, I think, because again, all of these countries, well, we know that Ukraine's the only country to always make it, but many of these countries have struggled repeatedly over the
Oh,
past decade.
Denmark. Denmark are the
Yeah,
only country left to not qualify in this decade.
it's just,
So,
I've almost given up on Denmark at this point. When the Dance Melody Grand Prix songs come out, I'm just not stirred. It's just,
no,
it doesn't, something's
very
gone off
vanilla.
there.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
vanilla.
for our dear colleague Simon Falk's mental health, I'd like to see them qualify at some point soon. But so it's so uninspired. This is going to sound really awful, but I'm saying this as a British person. Denmark reminds me of the UK in Eurovision in like a derogatory way, where
Oh.
maybe not so much recently because it's a little bit more interesting recently, but the UK kind of in that late 2010s, that really vanilla greyish kind of songs.
Oh.
That's the vibe for me, and we need something that isn't greyish, please, Denmark. Like we want to see you in the final.
Now, Lucy, Serbia is here, and all of their songs
Yes.
have been released. And I've seen really mixed opinion online about Serbia this year. Um, eh, Again, I think this semifinal plays to their strength. They will stand out. There's a song by Mimi Mercedes, which is quite loud. It's like
Yeah.
turbo folk esque. Something like that would definitely pop out. Yeah, no matter where it was. So I'm feeling good for them, actually.
Yeah, I think Serbia always bring quality, even if it's not immediate. Like, I mean, songs that I don't like that everybody seems to love from Serbia, things like Hurricane. Okay, even if it's
Yeah.
campy and fun, Serbia do it really well. And even though I'm not a fan of that song, when I saw it on the vinyl, I was like, I kind of get this now. You know, no matter what they do, by the time we get to Eurovision, I mean, Ramonda qualified last year. Sorry, my jaw was on the floor when that qualified, and then it was followed by Dom straight away, I believe, in the qualification. I was like, what's going on? So you know, no matter what Serbia send, they can do it really well by the time we get to Eurovision. So I will never count Serbia out.
Well, speaking of Serbia, who also qualified from second position, as we say, someone in the Wee Blogs WhatsApp group, I won't name them in case people came for them, but they have just WhatsApped us to say, what we do know is that the second spot in semifinal two is reserved for our girl Nina Zizic from Montenegro.
Yeah, probably, unfortunately,
That's
it wouldn't surprise
mean.
me.
Yeah,
It
the
wouldn't surprise
revamp
me
really
though.
needs to. I guess it depends on
She's
how many
a
ballads
great
we get.
singer though. Like, if they can just make the backing a little bit more accessible to everybody around the continent, then yeah, like it could do better. But I mean, the person who messaged that isn't wrong. Like, it's likely. I mean, it's a possibility, let's say, because we don't know the other songs. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
So I have not listened to the songs in Malta because I want to have a fresh, what's the word? I want to actually watch the show without having any type of opinion. But Malta, again, they often struggle to make it. So being in this semifinal, that makes me feel good for them.
Do you know the meme song that's gone around
Oh, I've seen
serving
I've seen people tweeting can't.
I need her to win because I just want to see what the EBU do. Because
Oh, good
technically it's
point.
one another language. Are they going to allow that? I refuse to believe they will. But oh my god, that song is on my playlist. I really want her to win in Malta. Will she? Probably not. But look, I would love it if she did. Other than that, some of the songs I'm not massively enthused about the rest of the songs. Um, but yeah, if that wins, I'm taking a Malta flag to parties.
I'm just scrolling through comments and people are talking much less about semifinal two than they are about
Interesting.
semifinal one. It Yeah, no, everyone's just obsessed with semifinal one apparently being stronger. That seems to be the main vibe coming out of this. Let's quickly review which country, Big Five plus host country, are voting in this semifinal. In semifinal two, also voting, we have Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. My first thought is Lithuania and Ireland are going to love the fact that the United Kingdom is voting. There's a huge Lithuanian diaspora here in the UK and indeed actually in Ireland. So Ireland will also be
Yes,
happy to be drawn with Lithuania. And then we've got France and Armenia. There's a lot of love between those two countries as well.
indeed. And I mean, I would say obviously UK, where we're talking about Lithuania, the UK can vote for Ireland as well, and probably will if it's Bobby Arlo, because that is very in touch with what UK people love to listen to. And like you say, yeah, we do love our Lithuanians here in the UK. And also I think like things like Look Talk was very our vibe as well. So if we're like whether you're Lithuanian or not. So and selection's super good. Germany have got Austria, it's worth noting. So yeah, that's exciting. And Switzerland is Switzerland? No, Switzerland are in the first, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, but
Well,
yeah,
like,
no, there's some good ones here. I mean, the thing is, obviously, you've got Luxembourg with France as well.
yeah, true, quite,
Yeah.
quite.
So yeah,
Well,
and
we are.
Australia for the UK actually. Sorry, Australia as well.
Oh, So we are running out of time on this free Zoom call. So final points from each of us. We brought up Ireland there, and now that all the songs are out, the one that springs to mind instantly is Bobby Arlo's. That's the song I remember. I think as the week has gone on, I've become less and less impressed, and that includes Like a Party. I'm sorry, I find it juvenile and basic. I do
Sorry.
not get the hype. If that song were in another national selection, people would absolutely savage it. But because Eurosong has stepped up this year, I think there is a halo of positivity, which is nice. And certainly there's something to admire about all the songs, but I just think Bobby Arlo is the one that's cutting through all the noise for me.
Yeah, it's head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, let's request Samantha Mumba. That song, again, I won't name them, but somebody in our Wee chat said they felt like they were getting musically edged. Throughout it, they're not wrong. You're just waiting for that moment, and then you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's not quite what we want. It's better than I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest. That's Samantha Mumba song, but I realistically think she might win in Ireland because she's the big name. But she wasn't. Yeah, she did well in the UK, but outside of that, was she super popular around Europe? I don't know. I think
I
it's a
have
bad
to be
choice to pick
honest,
off Bobby Arlo.
I feel like to compete at Eurovision, you need a song, and her entry is a lot of mumbling. And then eventually, is there a chorus? I can't remember if there's a
Can't
chorus.
even remember. Can't remember.
Let me just put it this way. If I have to choose between my way or the highway, I'm walking. I'm getting in the
Yeah,
car. I'm not
yeah.
following Samantha Mumba.
No. I think they're both very wide open semis, to be honest. I think Ireland really has a chance if they pick Bobby Arlo. And, there's so much unpredictability across both semis. It's a really nice mix, actually, this year. I don't think we have a particularly stronger one yet. I firmly disagree that the first one is the most exciting,
I agree.
even if that's the one people talk about, because there are a lot of Swedish and Ukrainian stands, as in people who specifically follow those countries, whether they're from them or not. So I think that's where a lot of the conversation with one is coming from. Semi-final two, I'm thrilled. I cannot wait. And when we're bearing in mind in this mix, we're also going to get the big five and Switzerland kind of performing in amongst.
White.
We don't just not get a clip now; we get the full performance. So yeah, I'm looking at semi two again. I don't know what the UK is going to send. I don't ask anymore. But Switzerland are probably going to have something really great. France are really high quality. France were my pick for who's going to win before we had any songs. So who knows? It's going to be really exciting. I'm more excited for the second one.
I'm gonna just say this. I'm excited for France. I'm gonna leave it at
I'm
that.
so excited for France.
UK, I hope they don't do last year's strategy of building mega hype, building hype.
But they've done the
Honestly,
statement thing. They're releasing it in March. It looks like they're doing the same thing again. Can they
tease us at the
not?
end. Just give it to us all at once. Let's not have this months
Please.
of build. Yeah, it just because then you end up disappointed. Um, in
I
any
mean, if it's not
case,
Rina Sawayama, flat out, I'm disappointed. But
yeah.
I know that's not going to be the case. So.
Well, this free Zoom call is about to end, so that's what we think. What do you think? What do you make of semifinal one versus semifinal two? Which is stronger? Who are the clear locks? Recognizing that we only have 3 songs at this point. Let us know here on Wee Wee Vlogs.
Don't forget to leave a comment, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, follow us on all the social medias, including Blue Sky this year, and of course Devon's favourite Pinterest, even though he doesn't have a Pinterest account.
And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.